Hi, this is Angel Jones. I love great conversations where life's journey is communicated not only through words, but tones and emotions. Explosive expressions that allow you to feel what they felt and learned. A fool learns only from his own mistake, while the wise learn from their own and from those others have made. Thanks for being here with us. Good night, Josie, Coco. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night? Well, it's day. It's day. My apologies.
It's daytime in our part of the world, and it's lovely. Yes, I'm just. Every day's a lovely day, and today's no exception. We live in the warm, sort of subtropics of Queensland, Australia.
Right.
So it's my favourite time of year as we're coming into the summertime.
Well, it's a great pleasure to connect with you, especially how it has happened. I think this happened twice. I was speaking to, interestingly, someone in Australia. Yeah, it was Rob, and Rob had his wife, and she was listening in, and then he actually is a podcaster, and I asked him, hey, let me speak to your wife, and she actually jumped on, and he said it's the first time she's been on a podcast, and this is the second time that it's happening, where Kate was speaking and you overheard her, right?
Yes, she was telling me about what you're doing.
Wonderful. So tell me then, which of your talents is responsible for us meeting, Josie?
Well, I have a lot of talents. The one that I'm focusing on in my entrepreneurial journey right now is working with energy. So I have studied the BodyTalk System, which is an energy healing modality. But what I'm doing is I'm bringing those skills into the entrepreneurial world, where I can help entrepreneurs and small to medium business owners look at the energetics that are developing in their business and bring them into alignment and connect them up with their goals and dreams, if you like. So I call my program Solutions Beyond Strategies. So we're looking at the relationship you have with your business. We're looking at the relationships within the team of your business. And we're looking for where things are not aligned, where the frustrations are. When we create an entity like a business, we create energy fields. So energy fields exist wherever there's life. And a business is the same. We create energy fields, and the energy fields hold the information, hold the resonance of everybody who's contributing. So it holds the resonance of their beliefs and attitudes, their words. It holds the resonance of the owner's intention, expectations. And so that's where I work. I work in that area to bring that into alignment so that it flows more easily.
That's pretty amazing. Ooh, it is.
Yeah. It's fairly leading edge, new sort of way of thinking about.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is, because I'm intrigued by it, because there are 3 schools of thought that I've heard thus far, and yours is the third. So the first is that when you create a business, you're creating a child.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the second, which is when you create a business, you're actually creating a mirror image of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that business speaks like you, it looks like you, it talks like you. And now you are speaking in terms of the energy fields that are being created, which is the third, which is the first time I'm hearing it, but I can understand its application as well.
Yeah, well,
it's pretty intriguing.
I think it's actually very much connected with your second model, because it is a mirror image of who we are, and therefore who we are and the concerns and difficulties we experience as a human being are reflected in our business. And I work with the human, the person, and the business to bring those things into alignment. So I'm working with the emotional content of that person and how it's expressing itself in the business.
What intrigued me about your model, though, is the inclusion of those that are there as well.
Yeah.
and the energy that they, in so doing, are actually putting in. So, I mean, like, so fears can be one that occurs as well, right?
Yes,
So the fears of the people that are contributing then create fears that are multiplied. Is that accurate, or am I going
that's
to?
right.
Okay, all right.
I think so because it's a feedback loop. So I guess some examples would be if you look at birds flying in formation. So the way the birds know exactly where they're all going to go is because they're all communicating with the information in the energy field they've created.
Hmm.
The same happens with dolphins swimming in synchronized swimming, and many other examples. The 100th monkey is a good example of the energy information in the energy field
Wow.
feeding back to the individuals who contribute to the field. So everybody that's concerned with the business, whether they're contractors or employees or suppliers or anybody that's intimately connected with the business, is actually contributing to that field.
Hmm.
And that field is then feeding that information back to the people who are in the team. So let's say, for example, you had a disgruntled employee and they may have left the team, but their input remains there because it's actually information in the field. The field is a field of energy, and on energy carries information. This is very much the work we call, in scientific terms, it's called morphic fields or morphogenic fields. And those fields carry information on the wavelengths of energy, just like when a television station is transmitting a program, it transmits it from one location and you get it on your receiver in your home. So you know that the air around you or the space around you is not empty. It's got these transmitted signals in it. Well, the same thing's happening in the energy fields that we create in our business. That information is in that field, in that energy, and it creates this feedback loop.
Wow. Yeah. I've said wow probably about 30 times while you were speaking. Ooh, I'm pretty. So who did you learn this? Who did you learn this from?
Well, this is a leading edge science. So the BodyTalk system is the system that I'm studying and I'm working in. I've been working in it since 2010, where it's a bringing together of the latest in quantum physics research and ancient wisdom, because they are merging. So this information coming together, and we're using the principles, quantum principles, to actually observe information in the field. So I've been practicing at the level of the biology, so looking after people who are unwell or, whether they're physically unwell, mentally or emotionally have concerns. But it works just exactly the same way in any environment. So it could be with a family group, it could be with a business group, it could be with a sports team or anywhere else. The body is just a collection of different fields, of different energy fields. So the cells have their own energy field, an organ has its own energy field. That's how a cell knows whether it's going to be a kidney cell or a liver cell, because it's communicating with its field to tell it what it has to do. Like we would call that, in spiritual terms, you'd call it consciousness.
Yeah.
In scientific terms, we call it the information in the field.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've interacted with this and you've seen the rewards and the values and the growth that can come from applying this model. Why will you continue to repeat this skill?
This what I've done a lot of in the last 6 years is work with the human form, and now I'm starting to work with businesses and starting to pilot into this area. And even in the short time I've been doing that, we're starting to see immediate shifts. And I think, for me, I want to work with women who are really forging a new corporate model. And I want to work with women who are creating businesses that are sustainable but regenerative of humanity and of the planet. So my target is going to be eventually those people who are in leadership roles. And it's just supporting them from an energetic perspective.
Yeah.
Because until we actually align those energetics, until we actually have some shifts in their, beliefs and their emotional input, and that of the team, you can do all the strategies you like, but it's not going to actually resolve the issues.
Wow, yeah, I could see women really excelling at that, because naturally they're functioning at that level. When let's look at the work at home mom, right?
Yeah.
She's creating, if you will, she's creating. She's functioning on that level where she's creating energy fields within that organization, right? And carry it forward into an entrepreneurial state. Ooh, it's ooh, wow.
Yeah. Yes, and so it will cut through all levels of our existence.
Yes.
From wherever we're contributing. So it becomes it's business anew. It's business diagnostics plus aligning those energies for sustainable business. But it will ultimately align them for sustainable family relationships, for sustainable group and community relationships. It will affect the whole.
Yes, love it. Well, let's tell me one other thing that you've done consistently. Give me a break, please. Let me breathe a bit. Tell me one other thing.
I've been an entrepreneur for about 20 years. So the first part of my adult life, I spent 20 years as a midwife. So I worked in the caring professions in the health services. And then I went into entrepreneurial world because I wanted to understand money and how that I needed to learn about that. So I created a business which was the first business was an office distribution business. So that was quite a big network and became a multi-million-dollar company. And then the second business I created was a childcare franchise. And so that spanned 20 years. And then I came back to health and well-being because that's my first love and my greatest passion, I think.
Wow.
So that brought me back to, I got quite interested in quantum physics research that was coming out. I got quite curious about that, and I could see the applications it had in health. So I went searching for some way of being able to express that knowledge in the health forum, and that's how I stumbled across the BodyTalk system.
Wow.
So yeah, so my interest is really, what gives me meaning is to actually be supporting and working with people and uplifting people, really. And so when I'm working in that sort of area, then I feel like I'm contributing something.
It's amazing. So how does it make you feel? You said one is it makes you feel as though you're contributing to something. Share more. How does it make you feel?
It feels meaningful, it feels that I'm giving from my heart. It's what I love, and I'm quite committed to spending the rest of my life doing something that I'm really enjoying, I really love to do, because then it's not a job, right? It's a way of life.
Yes,
and so, yeah, so that's why I want to stay working in this way, because to me, I see the whole world through these filters. So it's a way of expressing that and sharing that and
wonderful
with others. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, well, let's switch gears for a bit. Let me, Josie, invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
Oh.
Josie, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory. Well, my earliest childhood memory really occurred soon after my birth. And it was the one time that didn't happen very often for a long time afterwards, that my mother looked at me with pure love.
How old do you think you were?
Oh, I was only days old.
Wow. So why do you think this memory is so clear?
I think it became clear to me because it was something that I'd lost sight of throughout my childhood. My childhood was not an easy childhood. And, I always, it was like an anchor, if you like.
Yeah.
So it just kept reminding me that I was loved, I was cared for, even though that wasn't being expressed so easily, by my parents as they struggled with their own life experiences.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Yes.
Isn't love one of the fundamentals of that energy creation, fence, barrier, whatever, when creation is occurring?
Ask the question again.
Sure.
Isn't
love one of the fundamentals when creating that energy, fence, or whatever we call it, when we're doing that entrepreneurial creation, or when we're doing that mirror of what we are doing? Remember, I was telling you, as an entrepreneur, one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is to reveal that person, that the passion, the compassion, the empathy. Isn't love one of the key, what we call it, whatever it is it? So okay, let me go back one more step. So your mother communicated to you in a form that is pure energy, which is love at that point.
Yeah.
And within that, it created for you something that you connected to far past a touch, or a physical touch, that is. And now you are doing something from a quantum physics perspective that is showing that model of energy that isn't seen but is harnessed, or that is brought to life by extension through business.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
Definitely, yes. And I think that's part of the entrepreneurial journey, is that draws people to being entrepreneurs, is their love and passion for what they're doing. And that's what we need to actually spread more of around, right?
It's amazing.
That's what we want to actually put out in the field, is more of that love. And where they're actually having difficulty with that, that's where I work.
And that's amazing that your earliest childhood memory was just that, identifying that love, seeing that. That's amazing. Wow. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Oh my goodness. I don't even look. It would have been one of my family favorites. It would have been Dean Martin, or one of those, that era. I'm 60 years old, so it's been a while. Really.
So, do you remember the name of the song?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no. Josie, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have one son.
Wonderful. Do you believe in God?
No.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Never.
Wow. What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 hours or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, it'll be less than 8 hours a day.
All right. Hey, Josie, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, look, I've really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for the opportunity to share what I'm doing with you and your audience. I look forward to hearing what other people you interview and what other wealth you bring to this program. It sounds really amazing.
Hey, thank you very much. You have definitely... it took me about 800, probably 907 conversations to get to you. And you were sitting right next to Katie. But I'm grateful. So, hey... Josie, Coco, thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel. All the best.
Amazing audience. Before you leave, there's one person I'd like to introduce you to, Amanda Jones. She is my wife, and her passion is to educate, encourage, and empower.
Hi, I'm Amanda Jones, and I'm a registered nurse. Do you or someone you know have diabetes? According to the International Diabetes Federation, in 2015 worldwide, 415 million people were living with diabetes. Just as that figure is overwhelming, so too can the effects of diabetes be. So, to help simplify diabetes for both adult and child, I've used rhymes in my books, The ABCs of Diabetes for Children and Poems for Patients, a focus on diabetes. At its simplest, rhymes help us to remember. If you, a child or friend, want an easy, reader-friendly way to know about diabetes, then get a copy of these books. For more details, you can go to poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.